You have no idea what it takes to survive in the public markets for 10 years.
That's being an entrepreneur, but sometimes understand that you're wrong or that the market tells you no. Don't take your startup into being a publicly traded company. A publicly traded company is running another business. You cannot do two things at the same time. Entrepreneur is something that it's you under pressure constantly. If you don't know how to handle pressure, don't be an entrepreneur. So I think what people should know about MySize is that we are ramping up now. The company now is very much undervalued. The company now valuation is about $4 million, which is ridiculous. We have like more money in the bank, cash in the bank than the valuation of the company. We're going to do about $10 million this year.
Some of these brands are the real deal, like Adidas, and I forget some of the others that you had, but I mean, these are very recognizable names.
We have Levi's, we have Canali, we have Moschino, we have Kiabi, we have Desigual. It's a very big company.
How do you juggle that pressure of the capital raise and knowing who to get in front of and who not to? Good morning and welcome to the podcast. So I thought today I'd do something really unique. And I had this idea that I would do the first maybe 2 to 3 minutes or even this intro in Hebrew. And then we'll see who gets it and who doesn't. And then I reminded myself that my Hebrew is not that good, but good enough to say shalom and welcome to Ronen Luzon, who's a good friend of mine for many, many years. And we'll get into that journey. But for those of you that are taking notes here, Ronen is the CEO of a NASDAQ listed company called MySizeID, and the ticker symbol is MYSZ, Mary, Yellow, Sam, Zebra. And he's got a really, really unique story, a unique journey, and I'm thrilled to be able to have a candid conversation with him. Ronen, thanks for taking the time and joining us today.
Hey, Seth, shalom, and thank you very much for having me. It's a great and Chag Sameach, Chanukah Sameach.
Chanukah Sameach.
Happy holidays to all of you, and thank you for having me here.
So listen, you and I go way back, so this is more of a conversation between friends. But for those of you who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about the current state of what MySizeID is? And I know that it has had several pivots to your credit over the last many years, but tell us what it is in its form today.
All right. So today, MySize is basically a platform for retailers to pick and choose different services that can actually benefit them on different aspects. Today, MySize is offering services from technology services, AI related mainly, driven kind of services to retailers, from understanding your size of your consumers to getting the logistics of different items. This kind one service, other service is having a circular as a service. Circular, I mean, as a second hand. If you know companies, Real or ThreadUp, we're doing the same, but in Europe. Other services is overstock monetization. So companies that are stuck with stock that are being from 2 seasons ago or from last year or the year before, we know how to handle it. So one of companies under MySize know how to buy it and sell it to firms globally via technology tools that we've developed. So we have today various types of services to offer retailers, and the end goal is to create as a leader in this retail that retailers can actually lean on and from using our services in different segments of the operations.
And it's interesting, you are essentially in the technology sector, but it did have at some point a very big component of fashion. I'm curious, your background, did it, I'm always wondering, like, when somebody starts in a particular industry, have they been in that since they were like 15 and they had an idea in their garage and they launched it? Like, what's your background? Is it technology? Is it fashion? Tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm not a fashion guy. Let's start from that.
Even though you dress well, you're not a fashion guy.
Well, okay. It's especially for your podcast.
Right.
But I'm not a fashion guy. I'm a tech guy. I'm an entrepreneur. MySize is the 4th company I'm building. Actually, the first one, which is public, but I've built companies. Some of them crashed and burned. Some of them I sold out. Some of them I spun out. But this is the first one which is public, and it's been a ride. It's been a ride for 11 years. I learned a lot on the public market. Going back, if it was a good idea to start MySize as a publicly traded company from day one, no, definitely not. And it hurt us along the way. I started as an idea. If we go back, and for your question, how did we start it? I always look at different industries and I'm trying to understand what's wrong in them. Like different products that I've developed and different companies that I built, it was always a need in the market that changed, and anomaly in the market that technology, because I'm a tech guy, I'm a software engineer in my background, and I also for what technology can help, can benefit in this space. And in the fashion space, especially on the retail, it's I've seen that the lasting of irregular sizing between different brands, and sometimes even in the same brand. It started with my kid, that he was a big NBA fan. We both love basketball, and he was changing team like every month or so. So the Lakers, which, well, I can't remember the brand that supports the Lakers, but if it's Nike or Under Armour from different other brand, other the sizes were different. So if I order in small back then, and sometimes it arrived too small or too big, and medium on the other one, and sending to Israel back then, it way you cannot return like you do in the US. So I stuck with the items, and jersey, a original jersey of NBA, the cost of it. So I said something is wrong here, and then started to drill, and I understood it's an issue across. It's not just in the NBA jerseys. It's across industry. And I saw that companies are going bankrupt just because of the return issue. It's a lot of money involved, especially if you want to do cross border. It's a no go. If you don't know your returns, or if you don't have it, brands are not even going there. And the problem is mainly for women and not men. And then I realized over the years, when dealing with fashion and dealing with retailers, we men, we are very simple, right? Most of us, we buy one, we know our size, stuck with it. And why? Because we don't want to switch. So we go ahead and size 501. I know I'm 34, 32. That's it. I'm going to buy all the because I know my size. That's it. I'm done. But women, they have more courage. What I can say, it's just like they're going ahead and changing brands, changing items, and that's where the problems actually starts. It's the returns, and that changing. And you can ask everyone who went online, he got stuck with returns, and somebody's paying for it. And usually it's not us as the consumers, it's the retailer, or the retailer is suffering from the returns, or is lacking a new audience that comes in and have the of buying. If I'm going to buy in a different brand I bought before, my confidence level is about to be zero. Probably I will not buy it. I will not add it to the cart. But if I will have a technology there that helps me to understand my size, that's my confidence level is way higher. That's where I saw the advantage of MySize. It took us a while to get there, and like 5 years to make this product work. But today we can see the benefit. We have over 100 brands that works with us, different segment, on the luxury, on the lingerie, on the casual, on the workwear. We have many brands, and we can see the benefit. We can see a reduction in returns, like about between 30 and 60% reduction in return. We can see increase in conversion, like 3 times increase in conversion, many other benefit on the e-commerce side. We can see it's working. We can see it working, and it's a great benefit to retailers.
And some of these brands are
how I started.
Some of these brands are the real deal, right? I mean, like Adidas, and I forget some of the others that you had, but I mean, these are very recognizable names.
Yeah, Levi's, we have Canali, we have Moschino, we have Kiabi, we have Desigual. It's big companies. It's a very big companies that some are with us for many years.
Yeah.
It's a huge Spanish retailer over 5 years. Levi's over 3 years. And that's because it actually gives them the benefit.
I remember you when you came out with that Levi's announcement. But you raise a really good point. Meaning, I very similar to you think that the best companies are launched not as necessarily a luxury item, but when you listen to what the market is telling you, and there's a pain point that keeps repeating itself over and over and over again, and then you have an ability to come up with an idea to plug up that hole of the pain point. I think those are the best companies that are born from that perspective of like, okay, I see a problem in the industry. How can I address it? And it seems like that's what you've done with MySize. And it's funny you say that it took you 5 years. So I want all the listeners to understand something really important about MySize. You and I believe we rang the bell together in 2016, right? Is that
That's right.
roughly?
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
almost 10 years that we've been at this fun and games together. And
Yeah.
what I want people to recognize is that, at least from my opinion, is you have no idea what it takes to survive in the public markets for 10 years. And the fact that you have done that is an incredible, incredible accomplishment that should not be taken lightly. Because to do that, it's not just surviving the financings, which I'd like to talk about. Like, how do you raise capital? How do you know who to deal with, who not to deal with, which is sometimes even more important. Um, but how to keep up with the times. When you first started, if I'm correct, I mean, you were an app. You weren't a whole platform. And at one
Yeah.
time, I remember at the Roth conference also, you had like this mirror where people would like look at themselves, and it was also like you've reinvented yourself many times over. So how do you keep up with the latest technology and the times to remain relevant?
Right. Uh, First is like being an entrepreneur. You need to understand. You don't need to fall in love with your idea, right? That's my first lesson. It's like you think about something, you invented something. Usually, you think it's the best in the world, first class. That's the product everybody needs. And if somebody tells you 100 times no, you're still saying yes. That will
How did you
happen.
know? How did you know my life? How did you know? I've been there.
That's being, yeah, that's being an entrepreneur. But sometimes you understand that you're wrong, or that the market tells you no. Like the first product that we've launched, we had it was with the app, and we've managed to. It was really like one of my most clean that I came up with, really. But and when I launched it in CES, it was 2000, I think 18. I Retailers line to see that thing happen. It's like that wonder. It's your mobile phone. You just move it over the air from one place to another, and it knows to measure the distance just moving the phone over the air between 2 points. Even Apple came to our booth to see the iPhone measuring things over the air, but just moving it without the camera,
Wow.
without doing anything. And that was, and we had PVH and Adidas signed with us like the following week, the agreement with us, and they said, look, that's what we were looking for. That's the thing. And each one of them, I think, pay 100 grand just for the installment of that on their site. And we saying, okay, we have it. Like that's it. We've done it. That's it. And we've installed it on the both on. And after a year, we've seen that the consumers, nobody downloads the app, nobody using to move the phone over their body to measure their body to actually understand what sizes they need. And like we were frustrated. I had way more hair back then. Um, but and Adidas and PVH like said, like, Ron, look, We know that's awesome, but nobody's using it, Ronan. And we've done marketing and we've done videos, and we work together really, really to understand why there is very poor conversion. Like zero. And after a year, they said, "Look, Ronan, it's not working. We're sorry. We need to take it." And then I understand that I need to pivot. I need to change something to make that work. And we've done other focus groups, and we've done so many things, and we've changed it, and we've moved to a camera based kind of measurement, and it didn't work as well for the privacy, especially for the lingerie market. um, we work with so many brands, and we evolved to what we have, which is the questionnaire, where everybody's using the question, answering a question. You don't need to download an app. It's very quick. It's very understandable. Everybody can. My our kids and my mom, everybody can understand it. It's very quick, and it's very easy, and it's very, because the amount of data that we have
Right.
today. Back then we didn't have so many data, but
Right.
now we have like hundreds of millions of data points that we gathered over the years, and most of them it's proprietary data, our proprietary data that we collected anonymously, right? um, so one of the things is, again, not to fall in love with you. I say that, look, this app that I did, and this idea that I have patents on it in
Yeah.
US, in Europe, in Japan, in Russia, patents on it. I said, guys, I don't care that you don't. It That's what you need to do. So
Right.
we understood it, and we pivoted, and we gave the market what they wanted. And I stored this patent. Maybe someday somebody will use it. But
Interesting.
at the
And
moment,
I want to talk about the international aspect of it, but just to your point, I forget what year. I think it was before we met, but just by way of an example, when you talk about these apps and loving your own idea, which I did, I had this company called Weightview, which again, this is before iPhone even. So this might even be like, I don't know, 2007, 8. And I was like, at the time, I was probably about 40, 45 pounds heavier than I am now. And so I developed this app where somebody can upload a picture of themselves. We would send it to India to have it digitized and then being sent back to the user. And I thought, like, if somebody saw what they actually would look like if they lost 10, 20, 30 pounds, this would motivate them to lose weight. And it was awesome. We were on Fox 5, NBC, CBS, Rachel Ray, Oprah, Ellen, MetaFast called us, but it was a free service because I just wanted to build momentum. And we had millions of users. And then as soon as I flip the switch to $5 or $10 per result, crickets, nothing,
yeah,
not one upload. And as much as I was in love with the idea, the lesson was like you saying, don't fall in love with your own idea. Not every great idea makes money, and at the end of the day, if it's not making money, we just shut it all down. But
yeah.
you talk about an international basis, patents in Japan, and even more so on some of our last discussions. You talk about acquisitions on a global basis. I think that's something that's super important that you've done, and I want to hear about it. Meaning, I'm a guy from Brooklyn. So for me, anything outside New York, New Jersey, and Staten Island is like a big deal. I find that a lot of Israeli issuers and entrepreneurs like yourself have this ability to do worldwide business. I was talking to this guy, he goes to Dubai and he's got this in Switzerland. You see the world for the world on a global scale, as opposed to a lot of New Yorkers or U.S. citizens. We look at the world as within the bounds of the U.S. Tell us about some of the acquisitions you've been doing, and tell us about the ability to work on a global basis versus just in Israel or just the U.S.
When I finished the army, I went to China to try my luck in China, and it was a long time ago. It's even when Beijing had the Forbidden City. Like if you were a tourist, there was one market in Beijing that only foreigners can buy in, like Chinese could not go in. And and I was my sister is speaking Chinese. So we went to China, and when I say I'm from Israel, they thought that it's the biggest country in the world, Chinese. And it tells you something about Israeli. It's like we like to travel, and we travel throughout, and everywhere you go you see Israeli, because Israel, as you know, Israel it's a tiny place. It's like 600 on 180. It's a tiny place, and we love to travel. And after I graduated university in the UK, I've done my first degree in the UK. I started working in a startup, in an Israeli startup, as a software engineer. And I don't like to be a soft. I don't like to sit in front of a computer and doing coding. So very quickly they shoved me out to do a support of clients of our clients globally. So I lived in France, in Portugal, in Japan, in Tokyo, in the UK, in the US, you name it. I was everywhere. And I love technology things. I love to understand why people are doing what they're doing. Is it because they like to do it? Because they don't know anything else? Maybe we can find if I like to investigate and to change things and to come up with new ideas, and that's why I'm building this stuff. And I'm always in the lookout for, if I'm already here, I'm doing something. Let's see what else I can do and bring in, and what is the quickest way. So when I started, I said, no, I'm going to develop everything. I'm going to do everything with my hands. Today, older, hopefully wiser, but I have this public vehicle that I can use, and not just the money and the equity, which is a great tool, to go out and find these companies that struggling or need more cash, or they don't have the a global view, which I have. So bring them in, give them some cash, give them equity, sell them the dream. If you come in and will be successful, this equity will be 10 times more. Bring them in and have shortcut to the market that somebody already developed. We know how to analyze it, to bring it in, and have those connections spread out, so you have those agents to tell you, look, Ronen, here, the thing here, there's an interesting company here, they're struggling, maybe synergetic to you. Have these people connected to you. Be a people person. Be a people person. Investigate. Make those links, not just those social links, physical links. It's so important to have this physical connection between man and man, men and women. This is the most important thing, because that's how relationships are built. Are loves to share information, loves to share information, and that's how we work. That's how it works. We get it. We understand. We bought company in Spain. We bought a company in Israel, in Switzerland, and that's what makes us stronger. And that's how we
Is the
arrive to where we are
technology that
today.
you bought from Spain and Switzerland, is it a different feature, or does it allow you to add on to the existing platform, or is it something that is just integrated and more of the same, just better?
So we've done several. So in Spain, we bought two companies. One, it was a competitor, MySize, that we bought it in, and they had more market share. So we bought them in. Other companies that we bought in Spain is second, like very similar to ThreadUp, really, and so that's a all different to see that we are now.
You know, Ronan, sorry, you broke up. One second. You broke up. I don't. I guess it's the connection. You broke up by the second company. So we'll
So
cut.
the first company that we purchased, it was a competitor, which done my size, but they had different features, little different about different technology. They have more customers. The second company was a whole different segment. Was the company. which is the second-hand market, like the real, like the ThreadUp, but operating in Europe. That's a different segment that we purchased, which I think it's an amazing. It's bigger the growing the fastest growing market today in fashion globally, second-hand market, and this is another approach which is until the purchase of Percentile was pure B player. Now we are B2C as well because Percentile the end consumer selling the end consumer. So that's a whole new market for my size and our technology tools that can we can see how they work direct to consumer, affect consumer, and actually sell them. That's amazing.
Interesting. And I want to touch on something that you mentioned before, which I think is, I don't want to say really brave of the fact that you said it or that you acknowledged it, because a lot of people will never admit it, but that maybe the company was too early to do an IPO or to go public on the exchange. And I think that the rules have obviously changed over the last 10 years, but a lot of companies either think that they are too early and they don't want to explore going public, or they do go public and they should have sat on the sidelines for a little bit longer. Uh, what do you think, or what has your experience been in terms of the right time to go public, at least on NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange? Is there a right time, or does it really depend on a case by case basis?
I think the right time is especially on technology side, right? I'm not
Right.
on the bio, but on technology side, I think you need to have a product. Definitely, you need to have sales, significant sales. You need to have milestone. You need to grow up. You need to know that you're about to grow up in the next 2 to 4 years. You have very clear milestones that you're going to reach at a high percentage, and not vague, not being a startup. Don't take your startup into being a public traded company. A publicly traded company is running another business. I'm saying, me as a CEO, I need to run my public entity, I need to run my business. It's two businesses. You cannot do both two things at the same time if you don't like pick 1 hour before and work 25
So
hours a
well
day.
said. Yeah.
You cannot. It's almost impossible. And running a startup, it's over full.
Well, I'll tell you
Full
honestly,
time job.
Ronen, I feel like you have three hats, because you run a public company, you run the business itself, and in my experience, the fact that you're traveling from Israel to the U.S. to present at conferences and interviews, and appearing at New York Stock Exchange interviews and presenting at Noble, like I flew to Israel back in October, and I came back and I was jet lagged for like 3 days, and I just said to myself, I'm like, I don't understand how these guys do it. They travel like literally every week, every 2 weeks, and it totally knocks me out. So, kudos to you that you're able to juggle, three hats, probably a lot more. The fact that you're back and forth to focus in the US and raise capital and exposure and liquidity and awareness. How do you juggle that pressure of the capital raise and knowing who to get in front of and who not to?
First, look, I love the sea. I love the sea. The sea is my right. When I've can you hear me?
No, you cut out. You said
Okay.
I love something, and then you cut out.
Yeah. I love the sea. The sea is my shrink. It's like when I'm when I'm under pressure, I'm going to swim at the sea. I'm going out winter, summer. I'm going to the sea. I'm swimming, me, and that's it. And the
Wow.
waves, and that's my shrink, and that's how I relax. And look, you know that entrepreneur is something that it's you under pressure constantly. If you don't know how to handle pressure, don't be an entrepreneur. Go have a day job, work in a startup, work in a big company. That's fine. You probably will make even more money. Um, but being entrepreneur is being under pressure constantly. You need to juggle. You have more balls in the air that you can handle. But that's the life. That's the job. That's the day job. Now add being a public traded company, and investors needs to see the CEO physically. Needs to see him, and I'm a believer in seeing the people in person. See them. They need to see that you're real. They need to see what your aims, that you believe in what you do. Because at the end, they give me my salary, right? They pay my paycheck. They pay the salary of the employees, and I need to justify my existence. Them, and I'm a big believer in what I do. I ran different companies many years, and you will never hear what I'm doing. And if I've done something wrong, I know how to admit it. I know how to come forward and say, look, that's on me. That's on me. But if I don't believe in something, I said, much I'm out. I have other important things to do, and I've done things which I can do better. And I think in my side, especially what we do here, it's just something that I'm a great in the long run, and I think it's a long run. It's story that it's something that can hold. And as more that we grow, and we can see this do about $10 million, and juggling and being in the US, it's something that I'm a great believer in. And yes, you need to know how to pressurize yourself to lower the pressure. If it's I love sports, so every time I come to the first thing, I wake up in the morning, I go do a running on the Hudson or Central Park. It's like I cannot swim
Right.
in river. That's an
Right.
issue. But
You could try. You
that's
could
me.
try, but
Yeah.
right, right. No,
I don't know if I'll get
that's
far.
great. That's great. Well, I wanna be mindful of your time. So as we wrap up, is there anything else that the audience should know about My Size, things that you might be working on? Obviously, whatever you could tell us, anything we should look towards, and then also where can people find more information about the company?
So I think what people should know about my size, that we are ramping up now. Well, saying ramping up, so we build the bases. Yeah, it took us a while. We've been ups and downs. Yeah, the company now is very much undervalued. The company now valuation is about $4 million, which is ridiculous. We have like more money in the bank, cash in the bank, than the valuation of the company. We're going to do about $10 million this year in revenues. We have four companies bringing money in, generating revenues. Some are profitable, most of them are profitable. Next year, we're going to do projected to do $15 million. My personal goal is to bring in 2027 to roughly revenues of 30 and $35 million in revenues. And that's the goal, and it's completely realistic goal. Look, I've run businesses, completely realistic goal. I see how it goes, and I see where other companies. If you just look at ThreadUp, it's valued. It's the circular company. It's valued $1.2 billion in $280 million in revenues in 24. So, and that's just one company under my size. So completely achievable. That's where I'm going to take my size, and we have everything ready. Everything is
Amazing.
working, and
Amazing.
that's what's very important for me. People, very good managers, very good operators, that I don't need to do everything in this company. Trust them 110%, and I think that's the basic in running a company. Have good people with you, because you cannot do everything by yourself. You cannot. If you don't have a good team, walk away.
I agree.
And that's
And
something
what's
very
what's the
important for
company's
me.
what's the company's website?
The company website is MySizeID.com.
Okay, great. And
And
people can find you on all the socials, on LinkedIn.
all the socials.
Um,
We just established another socials on stock tweets and Yahoo Finance and forgot the other platform, Reddit.
Reddit,
So
right,
you can find
right.
us there as
Yeah, you're
well.
out there. You do a great job of storytelling, and you've got a great story to tell. So thank you for sharing it with everybody today. Always great to catch up. I did not know about the swimming thing, by the way. You know, after 10 years, I learned
I
something new about you every day. So again, for those of you that are keeping track, the ticker symbol is MYSZ. Ronen, always a pleasure, and maybe next time you're in town, we'll catch a Nets game, and I don't know, Nets, Knicks, we'll see. We'll duke it out.
Absolutely. We'll be NRF in the Javits, but we'll be at CES in January and after the week after in NRF in New York. So going to be
Amazing.
excited.
I will
And
see you then.
26 going to be great.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you very
Ronen.
much, Seth.
Bye bye.
Amazing. Bye bye.